Fighting games typically feature a body of characters with a varying degree of unique personalities and gimmicks. Their appearance, backstory, and fighting style are usually the elements that establish their identity. They usually have their resident muscle head and badass martial artist or swordsman. And that one character you don't know what to call. People usually settle on calling them those freak characters. So, today, we're counting down the 10 weirdest fighting game characters. Note that I'm not saying that these characters are terrible, bad designs. They're just strange and very bizarre. Also, note that this is not strictly limited to joke characters, and we're gonna limit it to one character per franchise. Let's go. Yoshimitsu. Appearing in every major Tekken game, Yoshimitsu is undoubtedly one of the most unique and recognizable characters in the series. With roughly each of these appearances, his main look became weirder. Starting with samurai-themed attire, to insectoid armor, to more resplendent and strangely designed Genji armor, to bearing blue skin, to a Inspector-like look, to a human octopus. The head honcho of the F.A.N.G clan is also well versed in his clan's style of advanced ninjutsu, consisting of some crazy flips, kicks, spinning moves that have the potential to make even Yoshimitsu himself drunk, and some special deceptive techniques. One of such techniques is meditation, in which he faces away from his opponent and heals himself. In Tekken 3 and Tag Tournament, he damages himself with this move. He also heals himself in his Indian stance, and has a few slick follow-up attacks from this stance. He also has a Harakiri, which obviously hurts Yoshi, but also has the potential to hurt his opponent. Finally, my personal favorite, the Flea stance. Yoshimitsu's insanely evolving appearance and fighting style, while bizarre, are actually much of the reason why he's such a fan favorite in the series. F.A.N.G. Of all the newcomers to appear in Street Fighter V, he is indisputably the strangest. F.A.N.G. is the second in command of Shadowloo ranking, just below the Mighty Bison. If you're curious to know what the meaning behind his name is, you'll probably be surprised to know it's not even really an acronym. It's just simply derived from the word F.A.N.G, also known as his name without the decimal points. And you obviously know what a F.A.N.G is. You know, like the ones that snakes and spiders have, and they inject venom into their prey. However, as plain as this actually links very well to his gimmick. A slew of his moves have the ability to poison the opponent upon contact. F.A.N.G's weirdness could be caught at a simple, single glance. As cliche as it is to say, just look at him. His proportions are way out of whack, and his goofy voice doesn't do much to make him look all that menacing. Frank Yagami of the Fighters Generation website described him as a 5-year-old's drawing of Kung Lao come to life. Ouch. His movements and fighting style are as intimidating as his aforementioned voice. His normals consist of really silly kicks and slaps. F.A.N.G's specials consist of him tossing around little globs of poison in the manner of a little kid playing with bubbles, a very trolly command dash, and annoying ground pollution. F.A.N.G's V-reversal is apparently him mocking Dhalsim's signature wind pose. Finally, there's his super Shiriri, This roughly translates to heaps of corpses all around. Sounds like an awesome, dark, bloodthirsty finishing move, right? Well... yeah. It's clear this guy is high on his own toxins or something. Double. Skullgirls has quite its share of weird characters. From a normal girl who fights with a feisty parasite atop her head, to an acrobatic girl who fights with huge muscular arms protruding from her head, to a cat girl who could fight with her head off. Huh. Oh! And there was a living, breathing cartoon girl who also watched cartoons. What do all the above have in common? Double does fairly decent impressions of each of them, and more. Double's backstory and origin are shrouded in mystery, which pretty much means that there is no exact explanation for this.
I gladly accept your time in blood.
Yup. That thing there that you just saw came from that nun. Yeah. Things get even weirder when it starts to move around. I mean, sure, there isn't anything too weird about a copy character, but Double stands out from among most copy characters in that she has moves that the originals themselves don't even have. That's actually pretty freaking cool. Her level 3 super Nightmare Legion involves her knocking the opponent all around while assuming different forms of various Skullgirls characters, which more than likely caused some DLC character speculation amongst fans in the game's early run. Of all the forms that Double takes during the super, only Squiggly became future DLC. Then there's her level 5 super, in which she transforms into an Easter Island head and thrashes the opponent with rings and peacock bombs. Did not see that one coming. Norimaro. Weird in itself, the fighting without fighting gimmick did not start with Phoenix Wright in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Rewind back to Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Even still, many of you may not remember Norimaro. That's because he was only exclusively available on the Japanese version of the game. Reasons for him being excluded from the overseas version of the game have never really been determined. However, a Japanese gaming magazine, GameSpot, stated that Marvel issued a harsh complaint about Norimaro's inclusion. Norimaro is an insanely awkward Japanese nerd stereotype. His fighting style ranges from the clumsy to the cowardly. This includes chucking a bunch of school supplies and Akuma dolls, begging for autographs, throwing himself in the air at his opponents, and flailing his arms, a technique which Maya adopts in UMVC 3. Norimaro's weirdness isn't just limited to what is seen. An unused hyper combo shows him thinking dirty thoughts, resulting in him getting a nosebleed, which the trail of blood is supposed to hit the opponent. Such thoughts involve an upskirt shot of Chun-Li, a rear shot of Cammy, a cutesy Sakura, a seductive Morrigan, Felicia panicking, an underaged Anita, and Zangief. Speaking of Chun-Li, Norimaro is apparently such a huge fan of hers that he steals her panties in a hidden arcade ending. Hakushan Daimao. Another Japanese exclusive character, Hakushan Daimao visually stands out amongst other characters in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom cross-generation of heroes. Even with the quirks of fellow Tatsunoko characters, the Yattermans and Doronjo, he is in an echelon of goofiness all his own. Hakushan Daimao is the main character of a classic Tatsunoko comedy anime entitled The Genie Family. Like most genies, Hakushan is bound inside a lamp. However, he is summoned by a person sneezing in the presence of the lamp rather than rubbing it. He is incredibly clumsy to the point where he messes up wishes. Hakushan is a fairly large, pudgy genie with a giddy face. His fighting style is yet another riddled in ridiculousness. When he isn't Cossack dancing, sneezing on you, or throwing his butt at you, it's his wand doing the fighting for him. Yep, that's right. A gloved hand at the end of his wand will poke, punch, and harass you as Hakushan panics to apparently try to get it under control. Yeah, right. Things get even weirder with his ridiculous spiral. The super version of this move ups the ante as he ends it by farting on you. Finally, Hakushan exhibits his patriotism, I guess, with his level 3 super 4th of July, in which he gives the opponent a second-long tour of his lamp only to blast them back out with fireworks. Merkava. The long-lost cousin of Dalsim, Necro, 12, Duolon, Alcyon III, and several others who are pretty weird themselves, Merkava may be the most insane of the legion of stretchy-limbed warriors in fighting games. He was once a human who hadn't successfully completed his transformation into a void. Voids are invisible creatures who dwell within the Hollow Night, a realm that forms once a month in the in-birth world. They are unable to think for themselves and move on their instincts to find existence or excess, which is the basic unit of living things in said world. Merkava is an extremely tall, dark, humanoid creature with Tron-esque neon blue markings on his body, and long white hair which looks and kinda behaves like a flame. The insanity lies in his fighting style and animations, which consist of forming wings which enables flight, summoning serpents formed from broken fragments of his body, climbing on opponents and biting them, and a host of moves involving Merkava insanely flailing his long limbs all about. Then his ultimate move, I Overrun, is pretty eerie and gruesome. Lord Raptor. Lord Raptor is a hell-raising rock and roll Aussie zombie from the Capcom classic Darkstalkers. He killed himself and 100 of his fans at his last live performance. He was resurrected by the Emperor Ozomu, who promised Lord Raptor power if he could kill the Darkstalkers. Lord Raptor, however, wanted to kill Ozomu and become Emperor himself. His target then became Jeddah, after finding the entrance to his realm, known as the Majigan, in the spot where Ozomu's castle once stood. Lord Raptor's fighting style and animations contain some of the coolest, most insane, disrespectful maneuvers ever. His body is his primary weapon, morphing it into fearsome forms during most of his attacks. He can have his body assume an insectoid form, impale his opponents with bones poking through his skin, and most notably, his legs transforming into chainsaws or spiked motorcycle tires. Lord Raptor has a move where he jumps atop a grounded opponent and stomps them insanely into the ground. In battle, he's accompanied by his comrade La Malta, who grants him the ability to teleport and perform one of the wackiest, yet kinda cool, signature moves ever, the EX Hell Dunk. This move involves Lord Raptor transforming his opponent into a basketball and slamming them into La Malta, who transforms into a horrifying basketball hoop. Creepy, crazy, creative. Xanadu. Oh, this guy. One of the newly introduced characters in King of Fighters 14, Xanadu is another one of those blatantly obvious freak designs. He's a legendary criminal with a superior intellect, imprisoned in an underground cell. He's referred to other prisoners as the King of the Underground. With such qualities and honorific titles, you'd think he'd have a cutthroat, calculating fighting style, right? His fighting style makes me think that lump atop his head is a result of a brain-damaging injury. There could arguably be something calculating about his style, but it's the furthest from cutthroat. One of his standout normal moves is an anti-air that has him appearing to throw a childlike temper tantrum. Adding on to the childishness, look at his command throw. While folding up someone with ease is quite a show of strength, the rockabye bit is something that cannot be unseen. Also, this move goes from childish to creepy when meter burn. Xanadu also shares a move with the previously mentioned Norimaro, running at his opponent and flailing his arms all about. Is this like a universal technique with weird characters? His forward throw is actually pretty insulting too, as he rolls his opponent all the way across the screen like a log or a gym mat. Xanadu even tries to give Black Canary and Sindel a run for their money with his Sonic Scream attack. While not as piercing as the screams of the aforementioned fighters, Xanadu's scream does apparently strike fear into those on the receiving end. That actually makes sense. Then of course, there is his level 3 super, which I have no explanation for this. Baldo. Can't have a list of strange, weird fighting game characters and not have him anywhere on it. Like Yoshimitsu in regards to Tekken, Baldo has appeared in all the major Soul Calibur games. Additionally, with every appearance, Baldo sported a different and stranger look. While Yoshimitsu's attire shifted between various styles and gimmicks, Baldo's attire remained mostly centered around sadomasochistic styles. The additions to his attire usually included spikes, fishnets, and colorful fur.
Perfect!
He's blind and only communicates with grunts, groans, and hissing noises. Many are familiar with Baldo as there's nothing really like him or his fighting style. Dual katars are his weapon of choice. A slew of Baldo's attacks involve some kind of unorthodox movement that seems like a hybrid between contortionism and breakdancing. He has a few stances. For one, his mantis crawl. And he also has the uncanny ability to fight with his back to the opponent. He's an insane mix-up character with his unusual and unpredictable moves.
I can't stand you anymore! Fire! Let's see then! Everyone! Impossible! Let's do this! Yeah! Ready! Like that. Yo. Like that. Ho. Ah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a stinky one.
Faust. Oh, Lord. I don't know exactly where to start with this one. Guilty Gear is a playground for wacky, weird characters, many of whom could have made this list. However, Faust still tops them all and takes the gold here. Once a lauded physician, Faust straddles between the roads of sanity and inexplicable madness. After fatally botching the operation of a young girl, he hid his identity of Dr. Baldhead behind a paper bag with a single eye hole. This is funny considering even with this mask, he still retains much of his doctor's attire. He even still has the same weird hunched over fighting stance as Dr. Baldhead. So much for hiding, huh? Then again, perhaps his fighting style is a factor in concealing his identity, as his attacks and techniques have the potential to either stupefy or make a person laugh uncontrollably. On the other hand, he still wields the same 6-foot-long scalpel that he wielded as Dr. Baldhead. Are 6-foot scalpels that commonplace? Regardless, I'm sure the identity of the man behind the paper bag mask is the least of your thoughts when you're getting gutted by it or any one of his other humiliating attacks, such as Concho. Faust has one of the most unique segues into a super move. With his Concho technique, should he confirm the initial hit, he initiates a shell game with 3 Reapers and an Angel. Should the opponent find a Reaper, Faust pokes them for heavy damage. If they find the Angel, Faust will take damage to himself.
Oh, no, it wasn't. He reacted because if he landed in...
Oh, it's time to guess.
No, it's Hellfire.
No,
Hellfire.
Oh.
That means it'll... Oh, no, it doesn't.
Oh!
Wait, I thought in Hellfire it automatically changed into a demon.
He was a bit less cruel with this move in Exard, doing it the traditional way rather than with his scalpel. Still doesn't make it pleasant though. Unless you're Eno.
Prepare yourself.
Fortissimo!
Faust also had one of the craziest instant kills in the game. A mini doctor's office pops out of nowhere with the opponent laying on the table. Faust then attempts to blow up the opponent but walks over to the table thinking that the explosion was a dud. It turns out Faust was just impatient and gets caught in the blast, rising from the smoke with him and his opponent sporting afros. What the... While Faust is quite an oddity of a character in fighting games in general, he does join a long line of characters that chuck weird arsenals of crap at you, each having unique effects. This includes donuts and chocolates that can heal him or his opponent, a hammer, chibi, Faust, bombs, meteors, poisons, 100-ton weights, oil drums that can be ignited by fiery attacks, jump pads, a black hole that pulls everything toward, including items, and probably the weirdest one of all, helium gas, which will elevate the pitch of the voice of whomever touches it. That's it. No damage, no stun. No type of delaying effect centered around combat, unless of course the opponent finds it humiliating, annoying, or distracting. Combine that with his Exard instant kill, and you seriously will not know what to think of this.
Begin! Sharon, the score has become rather bad.
I'm here next week. Bow, bow, win.